I always call it massive. Sometimes they say huge. Not a bad one. Huge stacks.
It has been almost an entire year since I last reviewed Megastructures and put them into a tier list. Since then, we've had additional Megastructures added to the game, we've had the game balance changed, and I now think it's high time we come back and look at the Megastructure tier list. In this video, I'm going to rank all of the multi-stage megastructures and tell you what my thoughts are on them, which ones I think are fantastic and you should always build, and which ones we probably want to never learn the plans for in the first place. So without any further ado, let's dive straight in to the beginning. As ever with this tier list, we're going to start right at the bottom in the F tier. Now the megastructures in this tier are not only quite bad, I think you would better spend your alloys and your economy on something else. They can actually impact your game in such a negative way that if you're on a certain machine, you simply won't be able to continue playing. The Quantum Catapult is the first megastructure down here in the F tier. This is a new megastructure we got our hands on with the Stellaris Overlord DLC. To fully upgrade this one, it's going to take you 35,000 alloys and 20 years, making it one of the faster megastructures at your disposal and one of the cheaper ones when we look at the cost. However, what do we actually get for all of that cash? Well, at the top level, you'll get minus 30% missing in action time, as long as you have the hyper relay technology, and you will also get a reduced catapult wind-up time. What am I talking about with the catapult wind-up? Well, you will get the ability to catapult a fleet from the system with the quantum catapult to somewhere else in the galaxy. You can catapult multiple fleets at a time. However, whenever you fling one fleet across the galaxy, the destination is somewhat random. The further away you try to send your fleet from the catapult, the lower the accuracy and therefore the lower the chance that your fleets will end up in the same system at the same time. This can mean if you are trying to do an offensive action with a quantum catapult, you could end up with a scattering of fleets attacking systems where they are woefully underprepared to fight, and a few fleets are grouping together and fighting in the right system. Overall, it is entirely not worth it. It is too random. It's better just to use jump drives and eat that minus 50% damage and speed modifier. Now there are some niche uses for the Quantum Catapult. If you're in a multiplayer PvP game where jump drives are banned or there are some specific rules around jump drives, they could be rather useful. But for general play, no, I wouldn't even bother building one in most of my games. It is definitely more of a gimmick than anything else. On the surface, the Sentry Array seems rather useful. At its top upgraded level, we're going to get a view over the entire galaxy, and we'll also get to see what's flying around the hyperlanes and see anything inside a system, even if it is a nebula system. We'll also gain plus 40 base intel on every other empire. This is going to take us 25 years to fully construct, as well as taking a total of 45,000 alloys and 12,500 unity. So its cost is not one of the lowest, it's got pretty high cost here. Now, why is it in the F tier? Well, that base intel gain will put you up right at the top, probably by the late game with intel for other empires. But intel now is not as useful, I would argue, especially military intel, because we need much lower intel now to get ship view of the enemy designs that we're coming up against. And that's probably one of the most important things you can actually get with intel. So by the time you actually construct this in the late game, you'll have enough technology to get your base intel up to a level where you've probably already got the information you require from your enemies. On top of all of that, if you've got something of a slower PC, getting entire galaxy view can completely slow your game down, I have been told. I haven't witnessed this personally, but I have been told on a number of occasions that some people simply cannot build the Sentry Array. When they do, the game becomes unplayable for them. So for that reason, it sits here in the F tier. Now we're up in the C tier. From this point onwards, everything is definitely good, definitely has its uses, although there are things to consider. Certain megastructures are much better than others and will be a much better investment. These megastructures in the C tier, generally not the best investment. The interstellar assembly is a personal favorite of mine when it comes to megastructures. I love galactic politics, I love engaging in the galactic community. The final stage of interstellar assembly will give you plus 40% diplomatic weight, plus 2 available envoys, and plus 50 opinion from all empires. That comes at quite a high cost of 45,000 alloys and 12,500 unity. It will take you 25 years to fully get here. Now those envoys are no longer as rare and as valuable as they used to be. There are lots of ascension perks, lots of traditions, lots of technologies, lots of edicts. There are many ways of increasing your available envoys in the game without having to spend 25 years, your possibly only megastructure build slot, and 45,000 alloys. Instead of going for interstellar assembly, in the early years at least, it's probably much better to spend those alloys directly on ships to boost your diplomatic weight by fleet power, go for supremacist to double it again, and that will overall give you more diplomatic weight than this will. Of course, there comes a certain point where that tips around, where investing extra alloys in ships will have its diminishing returns, as opposed to getting a flat 40% increase on diplo weight and 2 available envoys, which is basically another 20%. But there's just better options out there, I'm sorry to say it, when it comes to megastructures. You might be surprised to see Ringworld all the way down here in the C tier, but wait, let me explain my reasoning. So Ringworld requires that you've already completed another megastructure, taken the Galactic Wonders Ascension perk, and will destroy all planets in the system it is built on. To build a Ringworld, we first must construct a frame, and then we can build it one segment at a time. It can have up to 4 habitable segments, each one basically represents a planet of up to size 25 with some special districts. Why is it all the way down here in the C tier? Well, when we first construct a Ringworld, it will be completely empty. In order to get anything out of it, we will have to fill it with pops. That means we either have to move pops from somewhere else in our empire, where we have them already working, or we have to grow pops in the Ringworld or across our empire to get any benefit from it. Now, you will get slightly more efficient pops on Ringworlds than on regular worlds, absolutely. But Ringworlds are not as good as an Ecumenopolis for regular empires, and if you're a machine empire or a hive empire, you're probably going to want to build machine worlds and hive worlds, which are much cheaper again. If science is your focus and you need more scientists, you could go with habitats. They are going to be much cheaper and can go for a science-based designation. So overall, the Ringworld comes online quite late. It's going to take you time to fill up the segments, and when you finally do, yes, you'll be getting really good output, but you could simply build a megastructure that gives you resources straight away, rather than having to wait for pesky pops. The B tier offers a marginal increase in quality compared to the C tier. I want to stress that though, the B tier is only slightly better. You will notice why when I get to each of these items. I will explain it, but we're not talking about a massive jump like we just had between the F and the C. With the recent Unity rework, Unity is now more important than ever, and that makes Mega Art installation slightly better. This is the megastructure that will produce Unity. At its maximum possible upgraded level, you will need minor artifacts to complete it, though it still counts as completed without 100 minor artifacts, which is quite a lot. The completed version does need you to invest 50,000 alloys and 10,000 Unity, and it will take you 35 years to get there. But for that, you will get 300 Unity, which is a reasonable amount. That is not a massive amount. You could instead build up pops on planets to get quite a lot more. However, the plus 15% amenities is really good. That extra amenities increase is going to increase the pop efficiency of all pops across your empire, reduce the number of pops that need to work jobs that produce amenities like entertainers, or if you're a hive mind, maintenance and synapse drones, and that is really good. That's going to increase your overall output as an empire by a little bit extra, and by the late game, a little bit extra can be quite a lot in terms of raw numbers. And if you're enjoying this video, you can help me to build my very own Mega Art installation here on YouTube using that like button. The Strategic Coordination Center gives you a variety of bonuses, almost all of which are military in nature. You're going to get plus 150 base naval capacity, and by the late game with all of the multiplicative bonuses, that really will end up being more like 250 to 300 naval capacity. You'll get plus 6 starbase capacity, which is one of the only ways other than technology and general empire expansion of getting additional starbase capacity. Now those starbases can be used to do things like have more anchorages on to further increase naval capacity. You also get an increase in the number of defense platforms you can put on star bases and orbital rings in your empire, and defense platforms now are better than ever, so this is quite a good bonus if you're trying to fortify your empire. If you're a bulwark, it is phenomenally good. You can even hold off an endgame crisis with just defense platforms now, so that's something to think about. And the final bonus here is that you're going to get plus 15% sublight speed, one of the few ways of increasing your sublight speed outside of ship components. That is quite good. Additional sublight speed is going to help you have tactical flexibility and something of an edge over your opponents on a both tactical and strategic level. The cost for all of this is rather high at 50,000 alloys and 10,000 unity, and it will take 35 years to fully upgrade this like the Mega Art installation. And for those reasons, it is no higher. If it was cheaper and took less time, it would probably end up in the A tier for me. Before we move on into the A tier, I would like to give an honourable mention to orbital rings. Now, these are not a multi-stage megastructure, they're not featured in this tier list. However, they are absolutely fantastic. They're going to boost your production economically and provide some of the best defenses available in your systems by allowing you to build additional defense platforms and act as a second, third, or even fourth, if you have multiple planets, additional starbase. Generally, I would recommend building these around a planet rather than a habitat if you have the option. We've now made it up to the A tier. Everything in this tier, you basically want to build it if you have the option of doing so. The Science Nexus on the surface seems pretty mundane, and generally speaking it is. It is going to be a flat investment here for lots and lots of research and additionally bonus research speed. You're going to be getting plus 300 of each research category, as well as a plus 15% research speed boost, which will multiply all of that up to basically give you around plus 1,000 research. That will cost you 35 years of time, 50,000 alloys, and a whopping 20,000 unity. Once you've completed it, there is also a chance to trigger an event that will increase the research production by an additional 150 across all the categories. Whilst a Science Nexus won't directly help you immediately, that additional research is really, really good. I can't see any reason why you wouldn't build one if you had the option. A Dyson Sphere is a quintessential piece of science fiction technology. In Stellaris, we can actually build one, and it's going to support your economy, or at least a large chunk of it in the late game if you manage to get one out. Yes, you must complete the Galactic Wonders Ascension perk, meaning that you have to, and I really do stress this, have to have finished another megastructure before you can build this one. For that reason, it's not as powerful as it could be if it was one of the first megastructures we could build straight away when we finished mega engineering technology, but it is still really good. It is expensive. In total, it's going to cost us a whopping 55,000 alloys and an additional 26,000 unity, as well as taking 55 years to fully complete, but once it is completed, you'll be gaining 4,000 energy credits every month from this single system. Once you do that, you should be able to switch a lot of your, if not all of your technicians onto other jobs. Get them to produce alloys, get them to produce research, get them to produce something else other than energy, because you won't have any need for it anymore. You'll be fine with your Dyson Sphere. Now I want to add a little note or a caveat here that certain builds, such as Megacorp or specific trade builds, will be having so much energy income by the mid to late game that it actually doesn't make sense building a Dyson Sphere, and that is part of the reason, along with the fact that you have to have built another Megastructure first, why it sits down here in the A tier rather than being up in the S tier. Last but by absolutely no means least is the matter decompressor. This Megastructure is going to grant you, once you've fully completed it, a nice tidy flat 2,000 alloys. Those alloys can of course be put straight into use, producing more buildings, building ecumenopolises. You can afford to upgrade one planet into an ecumenopolis every 10 months by having a matter decompressor online, and that is a staggering thought. But this does come with a lot of the drawbacks that the Dyson Sphere had. You have to take Galactic Wander's Ascension perk, it takes you quite a while to produce the darn thing, quite a while to build it, and it costs a lot. But once you're done, you'll be getting lots and lots of minerals, and you should be able to switch over quite a few pops from mining, possibly all of your pops in your empire, into other jobs, thereby increasing pop efficiency across all of your worlds. Do note that the matter decompressor does require you to have a black hole to build one, so be on the lookout for a black hole in the galaxy early on. Before we get to the final tier, the S tier, let me know your thoughts on this tier list down in the comments below. Do you agree with my rankings, or do you think I've gone absolutely mad? I'd love to hear from you, and for the first few hours after this video goes live, I will try to read through and respond to every single comment we get down there, or at least as many as I can. Well, it looks like not that much has actually changed in the last 12 months since I reviewed Megastructures. Here we are in the S tier, and just like last time, I'm going to be putting the Mega Shipyard at this point. Now, there are a number of reasons that I believe the Mega Shipyard is the best Megastructure in the game. First off, it is one of the fastest to build, only taking 20 years in total. It's also on the cheaper end, only costing 33,000 alloys and 10,000 Unity. Which means that if you're looking for a Megastructure to build to have completed one Megastructure, and you don't have any ruined Megastructures lying around, the Mega Shipyard is a perfect candidate. Why would we want to do that? Well, we probably want to be taking the Galactic Wander's Ascension perk to get our hands on Dyson Spheres and matter decompression sites. Not only that, the Mega Shipyard in and of itself is a fantastic Megastructure. It will give you 20 shipyards, an empire-wide plus 100% ship build speed, basically meaning that the build speed of all of your shipyards is doubled, not just here, but in every system everywhere in the galaxy. At its final level, you can build Titans, Colossi, and Juggernauts at absolutely no additional cost. It also comes equipped with a Fleet Academy in essence, and grants all ships built there 100 experience, meaning they will all get plus 10% weapons damage. Now, in order to survive the late game, in order to survive any crisis, especially a 25 times crisis or beyond, you need as many ships as possible, and you're going to lose quite a lot of ships, so you need a large capacity for ship replacement. That makes Mega Shipyard absolutely essential in most runs, in my opinion. If you've enjoyed this video on Megastructures and you'd like to find out more about Ascension perks and how I would rank those in a tier list, click the video on screen now.